Greetings, welcome to this reading. Hey, thank you for joining me, everyone. Thank you to any new subscribers. This is November's Psi reading. And the reason why it's Psi, for you guys that don't know, is it's this deck of cards that I have focused on in the past. They're called Psi cards. So they were designed by Maggie Keane. They are used in way of Carl Jung's collective conscious divination, if you like. That's how they work. So they have archetypes and then this psychological connection behind them. They tap into collective conscious energies, which is how we work. We generally pull more from this deck. I have introduced the tarot deck to the collective conscious or global prediction energy about a year or so back. So this is for November 2019. I'm not an astrologer, but I do know that astrologers are saying there's some really tense energies coming in terms of astrological lineups, and I think all of us know that because we can feel it indeed. So tapping into the collective conscious energies now, just ascertaining what is around for November 2019, and we will start first with the Morgan Greer Tarot. So this is globally. These cards can pick up all different manner of what is happening globally, whether it's human related, climate related, planetary related, politics, all manner of things. That's a reversal. First off, it's the Five of Pentacles. Okay, nobody's favourite card when it turns up. It is not a pretty card, but it has come out reversed for us. So perhaps money is on our mind. Money and health are predominantly the two key functions of that card. There could be something that's happened that has managed to be saved at the last moment in terms of financial strife, or something teetering on the brink of collapsing. It may have just been stopped. In regards health, there may have been or may be something new coming that is a good positive, with that card being reversed. We'll feel into it. This is for November for 2019. Really, it's spun itself round again. It's another reversal. It doesn't surprise me that reversals are coming, because we are in a period of glitches, I think, at the matrix level. It's neither here nor there. So this was the Ace of Swords. We have the Six of Swords. They're coming out quite demurely, like timely at the moment, one at a time. We won't go too many more because we don't need a whole lot of the tarot, although they do add an unusual dimension. The Ace of Swords feels as though something has been thwarted, like a deal that could have gone through has fallen by the wayside or has been scuppered. And the one I'm thinking of most obviously is the Brexit conundrum, because just today the EU have announced that they will give an extension to the Brexit deal to the 31st of January of next year. And now Boris Johnson will have to sort out whether there's an election or a referendum to try and figure out what's going on. So that could be very well what that is. If it was standing upright, it would have had more of a success about it. But it's like a deal that was meant to happen that is not currently. It's still got some sort of energy around it where things are trying to be brought together. And maybe that's what's also perhaps saved the British pound or the EU dollar from escalating or defibrillating on itself. The boats could be the migrant people, of which we've just seen 39 poor innocent souls die in the truck as it was trying to cross the border into England. So this could be migrant type people coming from other lands to migrate into somewhere new, because this is boat by travel across sea, leaving something behind to look for a new beginning. It could also mean that waters are being traversed now and coming into calmer periods, or looking forward with more hope. And this could still be tied to these 3 cards. So this could still be associated with the Brexit conundrum. It could be, of course, many other different countries. It could be associated with the Trump issues at the moment and the impeachment. Again, if we look at it from that term, we may have solved something temporarily, or there may be a respite temporarily from the full-on, yes, it's coming, because the way the sword is turned upside down, it feels as though whatever was looking triumphant has suddenly been halted, and as I said before, thwarted. But it could be temporarily thwarted. So the action is still around these issues that's going on. And again, this boat here with the people could represent still moving into waters, but it does represent moving into calmer waters. So I'm not sure how much that ties in for the Trump USA saga. Let's see what this card here is. The Lovers. Pretty powerful card in many ways. It could bring the feeling of peace, but the Lovers card often has a strong message behind it, and it's that we must make a choice. So a choice has to be made. That's the final assumption of the Lovers card, and it can be a painful choice to make because it pulls on the heart. And it's interesting that I put it right under this downward facing sword that was appearing to be triumphant. And the sword is often triumphant at the cost of something else, so someone loses out. Now it's pointing back to the Lovers, so I think a choice does have to be made, and it's a difficult choice, and someone is still going to lose out. And there's often a choice between 3 options, or 3 collectives, or even 3 people can be involved. So this in turn could be still talking about the Brexit scenario, with Boris having to make a choice about a referendum or an election, and 3 people could stand in the election. Or it could still go back to the Trump scenario where he was, he's very close to being impeached, but maybe there's some choice that has to be made. Or, not all impeachments have led to the removal of the president out of the office. So whether or not there's some tying in there, I'm unsure either. But if we put these ones to the side a little bit, we might be able to see more when the side cards come out as to what they're referring to. There's no doubt that the first card that came out, the 5 of Pentacles, is the most gloomy. That's my fault. I have picked the deck upside down. I will turn her around the right way. So the Beauty often refers to someone in England and sometimes in London, who resides in London, who can be considered a beauty. Also sometimes royalty or movie stars, celebrities or politicians, and they announce something that can be unusual, or something happens to them a little bit unusual. We have seen this card come out when there has even been a death of someone that holds one of those positions I've just mentioned. I noticed that none of the cards are jumping. Well, that was a bit... the cart before the horse. I said none of them were jumping. I think that's too many to take. Perhaps I'll take the top one there, the body card, and we'll carry on working with the rest of them. Yeah, the Beauty can sometimes be something like a pregnancy announcement. I'm thinking, I wonder if Catherine and or Meghan are pregnant. There's a lot of issues going on at the moment with Meghan and Harry. They seem to be in a place of uncertain anxiety to a degree, so that could still be rumbling away in November. The body card definitely hints at things to do with health again, which we've said this one over here. There's 2 signs here of ill health, like demise of health, whether or not there's an outbreak of some sort of flu or a virus, because the body card can very much represent virus issues. So also something that can damage the body, like crushings, burnings, things along those lines. But the body card can also represent cures coming. So we've seen that in both of these cards here. The fact that there may be a tentative medical breakthrough in around November or leading into 2020, that could be quite significant. But yeah, other than me dropping the cards before, these ones are very slow to come out for this month of November. I'm not sure what that means. I'm not sure if it means that there's so much going on they don't know what to focus on, or whether it does mean there could be a lull in activities before the December finale of the year, the December eclipse of the year. I'm really getting very little out of this deck. So I think I will just do one last shuffle and then we will just pick the cards from the top. So this is for November 2019 for the Psi cards. Yeah, well, the Voyage, which might have been in last month, the Home, Mother upside down, the Beast. I've got more than I would have wanted by doing that. I think you can just about see them all. So we'll move a bit quickly through these. The Voyage card often has a suggestion of sun or great heat, sometimes in the northern hemisphere up here, sometimes through areas of the Middle Eastern areas. We've got the boat back again, so we have two messages of the boats, which we had last month. And to be fair, I don't know that we had much going on with boats last month. I think there was nothing specific that I came across, but it's a repeating message. It could have to do with travel or movement of issues, or the subconscious or the collective conscious. If not, then it could be boats coming, issues to do with boats, shipping, trade, or cruise boats, or immigration. It can definitely be to do with the sea, which might be what last month's boating and water issues were when we had Hagibis, the largest typhoon, I think, to strike Japan in a very long time. So we might see more cyclonic activity or large weather events. There is a possibility of earthquake feeling as well with the Voyage card. Sometimes quakes up through the older part of the globe, up through the Middle Eastern areas, or, you know, Iran, Pakistan, Turkey, just up through the older part of the globe sometimes. We come to the Home card. That's where I am. That's how I look at that card. So this can reference New Zealand. It can reference fires in New Zealand, or things to do with homes or houses, which could be shaking or quaking. We have a lot of earthquake activity at the moment going on. It's been rumbling away for weeks. Quite low grade quakes, but there is the potential there, I guess, for more bigger movement. It can also reference people close to the home or countries close to the home, such as Australia, and they've got wild bushfires there at the moment, so fires can be represented. The Mother turned upside down, I don't like it. I also notice it's got itself in the middle of this reading here, which amplifies the energy and pushes it out to all other directions, and it's reversed. And I often think of it as Mother Earth. So is Mother Earth doing a reversal? Ooh. Well, I hope it's not the pole reversal. It could be a reversal of cycles of sorts, or it could be an upside down feeling, or something glitching, or something just not being the way we expect it to be. It could be something to do with seasons or events or cycles of nature. Yeah, I wish that card hadn't turned itself upside down in terms of Mother Earth. If it's just Mother, is there something wrong with, yeah, it's a really hard one to get my head around. Traditionally, if it was up the right way, the mother represents the care and nurture of the children, of the family, of the feminine, of society. So that it's reversed, does it mean that the feminine is reversing, which could be a good thing. It could be that we gain more power, or we gain more awareness, or that something is becoming more feminine. So there's that possibility that's happening too. Maybe there's a shake-up for the feminine globally from November on, and maybe that's where we're headed. Maybe that's where Gaia is headed. It's quite a deep thing, this whole card upside down in the middle of the reading. I'd really like some help with interpreting that from you guys, viewers. That you need to give me some insight yourself as to what some of you think this referencing of the upside down mother could be. I do think that children could be inferred in this, and we have a possible pregnancies up here. We come to the beast. Here's a pretty horrible card in terms of he often pops out when one of the communist countries makes some sort of weird activity, motion or noise, thinking of people like North Korea, China, Putin, any of those big leaders that you could classify as being a bit communist with that red feeling. And the beast, quite often we think of Kim Jong-un or even Putin. So they could be on the lurch, they could be moving, they could be doing something. The beast also represents or can represent fires, untamed or untamable fires. It can also represent underground fires such as volcanoes. So volcanic activity might be increased in this month of November. The Wheel of Fortune, we come back to talking about money, and we had the money over here, and we have money right next to it down here as well. So for some reason, money is playing a role in November, but I'm not entirely sure whether it's a good thing or a bad thing. We've noticed it the whole year that oftentimes it's going up and down. There's a buoyancy or a fluidity to its movement. Sometimes we'll get quite high jumps up and it'll surge, and then it will drop down again. And these comings and goings are much more frequent than they used to be, and they're much more short in duration. So they're up quickly and down quickly, and this Wheel of Fortune could symbolize a similar effect, which is how we started over here. It can also represent to me things like cyclones, big cyclones, or tornadoes. So they may also be playing a role in the month of November. There's also dark. There's a lot of he's holding a lantern as if power is off. And we know that parts of America have had big power outages due to weather events or fires. The money card, it has traditionally meant to me that money is difficult or hard to procure, that there's some sort of shortage with it, or that there's a problem with its value. These pieces here look a little bit like old treasures, so sometimes this references when we find there's some new antiquities that are dug up, literally. You can also see maybe gold and silver and oil go up in value or down. I'm not going to guess right now which one that is, but gold, silver and oil can often be highlighted for one reason or another when this card turns up. Definitely antiquities being found that could be quite relevant to understanding human history. The death card and the body card can represent mass deaths in one event, and they can be really sad, and where people have been trapped or caught and unable to get out. This can also represent volcanic activity or things that happen in or around mountains, especially in the dark of night. So it can be accidents at night or events that have happened because it was dark. It can also represent, as I said, volcanic activities and mass death. The Sage we might think was a good card. He seems to sit over here protecting the whole reading or adding to the reading. He's often associated as someone who is a great scholar or learner, and he is looking at something on his book that appears to be like a depiction of an angular trajectory, possibly. So I often think of this as being something to do with the stars or looking up at the planets that surround us. So sometimes this is new information coming in about our solar system, or events that take place in the solar system, or understanding it to a greater level. It can also represent things such as space travel, new commodities around space, finding things such as asteroids or meteorites becoming more common, or new ones being found that are traversing our solar system as well. He can also represent the Pope and things to do with Catholicism or the Catholic Church. There's a lot of that in the news at the moment, the pedophilia, the priests that have been, that should have been castrated themselves actually many years ago. So a lot of this type of thing that could be surging again in November, or more information about them. So if we come back just briefly to the tarot over here, the Five of Pentacles definitely feels as a little less downbeat or downtrodden than if it were upright. So it does feel as though there's a temporary flux or a temporary lifting of something that has been arduous or ongoing or causing pain and even causing injury. So I'm also thinking here of the Hong Kong issues that have been going on. Perhaps there's a temporary not fleeing, perhaps there's a temporary alliance or a temporary holding back of the protesters in Hong Kong. There's also the Catalina movement in Barcelona. There might be temporary respite from some of this, but there's still things that aren't necessarily trusted yet. There's not a feeling of happiness or a feeling of resolution as things move on. There's a lot of things that are still tied up in this picture. There is some movement forward, but that's almost like people leaving the situation. And again, this could be referring to the Brexit, the USA situation. It could even be referring to deeper issues such as China and who they're allying with, and Russia and what are they doing, and the Iran situation and the ISIS situation. So it could take a very long time to go deep enough into all these cards to try and figure out the messages that they're telling us. But I think the overall message for November is that there could be an abating of things perhaps before the big finale of the year, the grand finale, and then the explosion of energy as we move into 2020, into that new decade. But it feels as though there are choices that have to be made. Some of them are not going to be easy, and some of them we can't trust. We're moving slowly away from some discrepancies or disagreements or hold-ups. We're moving slowly away from some of those toward the future, but nothing's set in stone yet, and nothing has been finalized, and no documents have been signed. That's definitely what this means in reversal, a lack of signing of documents. So yeah, there we are, guys, for the month. Interesting one indeed. Plenty going on at all many different levels. So I love it when you leave your comments and add your opinions and feelings and interpretations of the cards, or even just the collective conscious energies that you're all intuitively picking up on, because really that is how this is done. It's intuition of the collective conscious. So thank you, guys. Have a wonderful, safe November ahead, and yep, you'll see my next upload whenever it arrives. Take care, everyone. Much love. Namaste.